Hello, how are you? I don't know if, I don't know. I'm not supposed to say good morning because if you're watching this in the afternoon, it's not good for you. I don't want to say good afternoon. I can't say happy to see you in Los Angeles because I don't know if I'm going to be in Tarapoto, Lima, Peru. So wherever you are, whether it's LA, Palmdale, Acton, or Tarapoto, where I'm supposed to give a week of prayer, happy Wednesday, October 9. And the title for today, Jesus Heals a Blind Man, Part 2. Let's go directly to the scripture. John chapter 9, verse 5. As long as I am in the world, I am the light of the world. In ancient Hebrew philosophy, light was the ultimate ideal. Light symbolizes both knowledge and morality. This is one reason Scripture uses blindness as spiritual metaphor. Those who are blind are incapable of seeing light, even when it's presented to them. Those who are spiritually blind reject God, making it literally impossible for them to perceive His truth. In chapter 8, Jesus refers to Himself as the light of the world. That comment was a slightly different context in this verse. There, Jesus implies His role in salvation. Here, Jesus is speaking of light in a more general sense, which is why He uses the phrase, as long as I am in the world. Jesus made careful use of the word we in describing those who needed to work while they had the opportunity. He, like any other man, Hebrews 4, had a limited earthly life during which to follow Jesus, God's will, John chapter 9. This reference to light describes the way Christ will be bearer of the gospel up until His death. And not only His death, also until His resurrection. He will only be the bearer of the light. Then, and only then, do you and I become the light of the world. At that point, His apostles, at that point, His disciples will become the lights, bringing truth to the whole world. That is the reason I like to send postcards to everybody. That's the reason I like to send emails to everybody. That's the reason I like to use Facebook and Twitter and X and Instagram, because I want to be the light of the world. I'd rather be hated than ignored. I want to reach the 6,000 homes of Acton, California with the light of the world, with direct mail, with snail mail, with digital mail, with electronic mail, whatever it takes to reach them for the light that is Jesus Christ. I finish with a very sad story. The title of my story, The Worst Type of Blindness, is when a perfectly healthy man refuses to see the light. That is the title. Then the Pharisees again questioned the man who had been blind and said, "What's your opinion about the man who healed you?" They didn't even want to say the word Jesus. The blind man replies, the man that used to be blind, "I think he must be a prophet." The Jewish leaders still refused to believe that the man had been blind and could now see, so they called the parents. And they say, "Hey, Mr. Father and Mother, is this your son?" Very frightened, they say, "Yes, he is." "Was he born blind?" "Yes, he was." "How can he now see?" "We know that this is our son. We know that he was born blind, but we don't know how he can see or who healed him." "Why don't you ask him? He's old enough to speak for himself." His parents say this because they were afraid of the Jewish leaders, of the Israelis, who had announced that anyone saying Jesus was the Messiah would be expelled from the synagogue. That's why they said, he's old enough. Ask him. So for the second time, they call in the blind man who had been blind and ask the same question. God should get the glory for this. What a hypocrite. You know what that phrase means? God should get the glory for this. Say the truth. Do not lie. They were cursing. Because we know this man, Jesus, is a sinner. They are cursing more. The man replies, I don't know whether he's a sinner. But I know this. I was blind and now I can see. But what did he do? How did he heal you? Look, the man replies, I told you once. Didn't you listen? Are you also deaf? I'm adding that. Why do you want to hear it again? Do you want to become his disciples too? They started cursing. You expletive blind person. You cursed sick sinner. You are his disciple, but we're disciples of Moses. We know God spoke to Moses, but we don't even know where this man comes from. Why? That's very strange. He healed my eyes, yet you don't know where he comes from? We know that God doesn't listen to sinners, but he is ready to hear those who worship him and do his will. Ever since the world began, no one has been able to open the eyes of someone born blind. If this man were not from God, he would not have been able to heal me. Man, they were so ticked off. They were furious. You were born a total sinner. Are you trying to teach us? Get him out of here. Throw him out of the synagogue. And he was thrown out. And he was kicked out. I hate to share stories that have a sad ending, but it's in the Bible. And God does not lie. May God bless you. I will see you tomorrow.
I'm going home.